Hi, boys and girls. This is Mr. H and Miss Garcia, and in this video, we're going to be going over the answers to the spiral math for Thursday, April 30th. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it with number one. First of all, I'm going to read it to make sure I know what I'm doing. And it says here, estimate. Ooh, estimate by rounding each mixed number to the nearest whole number. So a lot of keywords in here, estimate and rounding, and to the nearest whole number. So that makes it a lot easier than if I hadn't read those, because I would have probably had to do a lot of complicated addition to get these into like denominators and stuff, but I don't have to. All I do is I take 4 5/9, and it's saying to the nearest whole number. 5 is closer to 9, so I'm going to round this up to 1 whole, which means that I'm going to be going from 4 5/9 to just 5. And then 9 and 2, 6. Well, 2 is actually closer to 0 than 6, so this is actually closer. This is going to actually mean that I'm not going to really round this 9 at all. I'm just going to leave it at 9. So 9 and 2, 6 is about equal to 9. And wow, that's a lot easier now. Now I just know it's 14. So I just write that in here. 4 5/9 is and 9 and 2, 6 is wavy equal sign 14, or about equal to. Now, if you're that kid who did not round it and you added this up, the number monkey's going to make a call. And otherwise, you're good to go. Let's move on down.
Okay, so we're going to look at number 2.
Okay.
All right, so it says, write the fraction in simplest form. If the fraction is already in simplest form, write simplified. So, so for your answer sentence, you guys should say, the fraction in simplest form is...
All right.
All right, so let's take a look at our fraction. Our fraction that we're going to be looking at is 9/30. So I would say that that is not simplified, because I know that 3 can go into each one of those numbers. So remember, what you do to your numerator, you have to do to your denominator. So you want to divide each of them by 3. So 9 divided by 3 gives you 3, and 30 divided by 3 gives you 10. So that then gives you 3/10. And since
Can I simplify that anymore, Ms. Garcia?
Huh?
Can I simplify that anymore?
No, because 3 is a prime number, and so that is in simplest form. So 3/10 should be your guys' final answer for that one.
All right. We're going down to number 3. Lava and her family are dividing 82 books into 4 boxes to donate to homeless shelters. They would like to put the same number of books in each box. Is this possible? Explain. Well, basically, they kind of give you a major clue about what you're going to be doing for this one in this. They're saying they're dividing 82 books into 4 boxes. What I know now is that I'm going to be doing some dividing. I'm going to take 82 books and try to put them into 4 boxes. If I have a remainder, that means I can't put the same number of books in each box, and that means it's not possible. So let's try that. That'll help me with my answer sentence too. Normally I'd write an answer sentence first, but I think I'll wait until after I'm done with this dividing to know what I want to say. Let's see. So we have 82 boxes, or 82 books, and we're putting them into 4 boxes. So I can take 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Drop down the 2. Oh, I really can't divide. I have to put a 0 right here. 4 times 0 is 0. Now, I don't have to go into decimals here. I just have to look to see if I have a remainder. And I do. It's 2. So my quotient here is 20 remainder 2, which means I could put all the books into 20 boxes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I could put 20 books into those 4 boxes, but I still have 2 books left over that I couldn't fit in the boxes. That means that I can't actually put all 82 books into the boxes. So that's what I'm going to put right here. I'm going to say, no, they can't put all the books into 4 boxes equally. The reason why, because the reason why is because there's going to be 2 left over, because there will be 2 left over. That was our remainder. And I might just say 2 books. It's kind of nice to write it out like this because we want to know what the 2 means. So there will be 2 books left over. Boys and girls, I would love you to have that answer sentence with the because in there. Make sure that you're also explaining to me that there'll be 2 books left over. Just saying that there's a remainder of 2 is okay, but saying that there's 2 books left over really shows me that you're paying attention to what we're talking about, which are books. And we're going to go ahead and move on now to number 4.
Okay, so number 4 says, Ashley explained to a friend that 4 to the second power is the same as 4 times 2. Is she correct? Explain. So looking at this, that 4 to the second power, it looks like that is not correct. So, because 4 to the second power is actually 4 times 4, which actually gives you 16. So is what Ashley did was she said that she just took that 2, the exponent, and she multiplied it by her 4, which would actually give her 8. So when it says, is she correct? You can say, no, she isn't correct.
Okay.
Or you can say, no, Ashley isn't correct. Sorry.
Oh, I was just trying to write no because, but that's a good
Oh, yeah, that works too. Yes, because you guys do want a because statement because it says explain. So you can say no because 4 to the second power equals 16 and 4 times 2. Oh, sorry.
Oh, and that's okay. No, go ahead. And 4 times 2.
And 4 times 2 equals 8.
I'm doing what I do. I'm doing what I tell the students not to do in class when they're my scribe and they write ahead of me, and I'm like doing exactly that. No.
It's okay.
Okay,
There
good.
you go.
All
So,
right.
yes, that finishes number 4.
All right, excellent. All right, we'll go on to number 5. Find the quotient, use the model, check using multiplication. There's a couple steps involved with this one, boys and girls, and it's important that you do all the steps to make sure that this is actually correct. Make sure that you draw the model on your work so that you show everybody what you're doing. So it says find the quotient, use the model, check using multiplication. So I'm going to put here 4 divided by 1/4 equals blank. My first step is to find the quotient. I'm going to use this model right here. And each one of those squares represents 1. It could be 1 of anything. You could talk about 1 piece of toast. This is another piece of toast. Miss Shades likes toast. And another piece of toast. So now we have 4 pieces of toast. I'm going to zoom out so you can see them. Now it says that I have 4 pieces of toast, and I'm going to divide them into 1/4 pieces. That means I'm going to cut this piece of toast first in half, and then I'm going to cut it into halves again, so I have 1/4 pieces. Each one of these is 1/4 of a whole piece of toast. This is 1 piece of toast. Just to explain what's going on here. Now, what I do here, I want to do for each piece of toast. So I'm going to go to the next piece of toast and divide that into fourths. I'll go to the third piece of toast and divide that into fourths. And I'll go to my 4th piece of toast and I'll divide that into fourths as well. When I've done that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to count the total number of 1/4 pieces. And that is my quotient. I'm taking 4 pieces of toast. I'm going to find out how many 1/4 pieces I have by counting them. And I'll put here question mark, total 1/4 pieces. And I'll do that like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 total pieces. 16 total 1/4 pieces. And that is how I divide using the model. But wait, there's more. It also says check using multiplication. So what I want to do is I want to take my 16 and my 1/4, and I want to use those to check by multiplying. I do it like this. I could take my 1/4, and then I'm going to multiply it by 16, which is also pro tip, the same thing as saying 1/4 of 16. What I do now is I can just go ahead and multiply that out by turning 16 into a whole or an improper fraction. 16 over 4. And I know that's dividing, and when I divide 16 divided by 4, I end up with 4, which is most important. It equals the dividend right here. 4 and 4. I'm sorry, the divisor. It equals the divisor right there. That means I multiplied correctly and I divided correctly. If the divisor here is equal to the product here, I'm good to go. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on.
All right,
I should do it right there. All right.
All right, so number 6 says, name the polygon shown below. Determine if it appears to be regular or not regular. How do you know? So looking at this, the easiest way to kind of determine this, or for your guys' answer sentence too, it says, name the polygon. So you can say the polygon is, oh, Mr. Yates, you have is twice, I think.
Oh no, double dipping on the is. Okay, let me go ahead and. Good call, Ms. Garcia.
It's okay, right. I do that all the time. All right, the polygon is a, and so the way to determine a polygon is by counting its number of sides. So when you count these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when a shape has 6 sides, that means that is a hexagon. And make sure you guys pay attention to spelling, because just like Mr. Yates has up there, hex means 6. So this one does have 6 sides, so that makes it a hexagon. And it is, and it wants us to determine if it's regular or not regular, and it is regular, because if you remember in class, we, oh, my bad, it's not regular.
Subtle hints there, Ms. Garcia.
I was basing it off of only one thing, but okay, you're right, it isn't, because not all sides are congruent, correct? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked kind of regular at the bottom, but then it starts to go off the rails here at the top, where they're just all sorts of sizes.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting confused, boys and girls. Don't listen to me. So the polygon is a hexagon, and it is not regular because all sides are not congruent.
I love how you used congruent in that, Ms. Garcia. That's a great mathematical term, because all sides are not congruent. Not the same.
Nope, they are not the same size and they're not the same shape.
All right. So the polygon is a hexagon, and it is not regular because all sides are not congruent. All right. And we'll go ahead and identify the pattern. And then we're going to write the next 3 terms in the sequence. So we have 2, 8, 32, 128. So as I look at this, I'm just full of copy errors today. And I've slow down and take my time when I write. The pattern is and let me see, it looks like I go 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 4 is 32, 32 times 4 is 128. So it looks like the pattern is multiply by 4. So it looks like the next 3 terms in the sequence are going to be 128 times 4. Miss Garcia, did you calculate this one out already, or did
Yeah, I
oh,
have it. I wasn't sure if you wanted to show them the multiplication, but
I don't. As long as they have their work down here, I think we'll just go ahead and I'll just write it down here to show it. You want
okay.
to take, or actually, yeah, tell me. So it's 128 times 4.
Yes.
So
So
what was 128 times 4?
your 120 times 4 would give you 512.
Okay. Then I take that, I have 512 and multiply that by 4. And what did I
And
get for
then,
that?
yeah. So then you get 2048.
Ooh, getting bigger. And then I take the 2048 and multiply that times 4. And what do I get with that?
You get, are you ready for it? Wait for
Yep.
it. It is 8,192.
All right. Okay. So now I'll just say, thank you for saving me that time, Ms. Garcia.
Yep.
So the next 3 terms, and it's great if you guys use the word terms in the sequence, are, and let's go ahead and put here 512, 2048, and 8,192. All right, great. And then we have one more left. I think we might have enough room here because we're not going to be writing a lot of words. We're just going to be taking 4 2/3.
Yep. And you're
Minus 7
subtracting
eighths.
7/8.
All right, Miss Garcia, what do we do?
All right. So our first step of subtracting fractions is going to be to write them vertically. And make sure you guys are lining up your whole numbers and your fractions. Make sure to write your subtraction sign just so we know what operation we're doing. And since this one doesn't have a whole number, just make sure you are lining up your fractions. So, or you can place a 0. That's what I did too. So let's go ahead and subtract these. So right off the bat, it looks like we can't really subtract our fractions quite yet just because we don't have a common denominator. So I said, I turned my common denominator into 24. I multiplied my 8 times 3, and that gave me 24. And just remember, what you do to the top, you have to do the bottom, and you have to do it to both fractions. So your bottom fraction, you want to multiply them both by 3. So your 7 times 3 gives you your 21. Your 8 times 3 gives you your 24. Then on your top fraction, you're going to multiply it by 8 to where 3 times 8 gives you 24 and 2 times 8 gives you 16. Perfect. So now we have common denominators. Oh, but I still see an issue because our top numerator is actually smaller than our bottom numerator, which means we have to take one whole number from our 4. So, and we want to change our 4 to a 3, and we want to make sure that our whole number has the same denominator as our other ones. So let's go ahead and make that. Yes, so we want to borrow. So we're going to go ahead and make a new fraction of 24 over 24 because that is equivalent to 1. Then we're going to go ahead and want to add that 24 to 24. And remember, we don't add our denominators. We only add our numerators. And when you add 16 and 24, you should get 40. And then you keep your denominator is 24. So now you're going to be taking your 40 minus your 21.
Oh no, that hole right there is harshing it up here for me. So what I'm going to do, Ms. Garcia, just to avoid dreaded squish issues, I'm just going to go ahead and use another piece of paper just so the kids can see this a little bit clearly. I'm going to rewrite it so we can see where we're going with this. So I'm going to add a little bit right here, and I'm going to take this and just bear with me 1 second while I write it. So our whole, so our whole number becomes 3, and 40 24ths We're still subtracting 0, and we're having. So is that where we're supposed to be right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So then remember, when we subtract fractions, we do not subtract our denominators. So we want to go ahead and carry down or drop down our 24 as our denominator. And then 40 minus 21 gives you 19. And since 19 is a prime number, that means that that is in simplest form, because I always want to double check that before moving on to subtracting your whole number. And since that's in simplest form, let's go ahead and subtract our whole numbers. 3 minus 0 gives you 3. So for your guys' final answer, you should have ended with 3 and 19/24.
I'll put that on my paper.
And that concludes number 8.
Great. And you know, boys and girls, today what I want to do is we're going to do something a little different. I'd like to see your spiral math work this time. So we're going to do a flip grid, and I'd like you, instead of filling out the survey this time, I'd like you to just hold it up for me. Kind of like this. And just say, Mr. Yates, here are my answers, and here's my work. So I'm kind of trying to line it up really good. So show your work right here on this side, your answers on this side, and show me both sides, and just let me know if there were any things you had trouble with. If everything was great, no problem. If while you're showing it to me, you're saying, yeah, I kind of had trouble here on number 1, or I had trouble here on number 2, explain to me what you did. But, you know, as I was writing down all these answers, I thought, boy, it sure would be nice for Ms. Garcia and I to look at what you did and see how you did with it. We've been asking you, but this time I'd like you to show it to us. So the next link you see will be a Flipgrid link where I'd like you to actually put this up to the camera and do a nice little close-up and show us how you did on it. Both sides, please, and all from numbers 1 to 8. And make sure you label any mistakes or make any corrections on it so we can see how you did. Thanks, boys and girls. And we look forward to seeing your work. Bye-bye.